Hey everyone. Okay, so this episode actually had me doing something I don't normally do with the anime reviews of One Piece, which is I went back and reread chapter 1040 to see what it is exactly that it was extended and what it is they added to this episode, because for the life of me, I honestly didn't remember a damn thing of what happened in this part of the fight with Big Mom, other than her falling off Onigashima. So I just assumed everything here was extended or added material, and after rereading the episode's corresponding chapter, I came to learn a lot of the Big Mom stuff was in the manga, but Toei did do did definitely add a couple things here and there, as well as doing something a little bit tricky, which is to say, even though they did extend a little bit of the Big Mom segments with flashbacks to like Roger's execution and all that, they more so extended every other scene around the Big Mom fight. So the stuff going on with Yamato and Raizo's fight, those are the moments within the episode that got the most amount of like attention out in terms of what was extended. But aside from the flashback to Roger's execution and the final moments of Big Mom's fight remain largely untouched, and obviously I'm thankful for that, but it is also kind of one of those weird things where extending every other scene around the Big Mom fight still felt like it dragged out her final moments maybe a little too long, yet I still appreciate having more time to stew with her final thoughts, so as she falls to her doom in nothing but pure silence and only the sound of her thoughts is all there is to it, and which is something very harrowing about how Toei portrayed that. So like again, I know my thoughts are kind of bouncing around with this explanation, but it's a very weird episode in that regard in order to try and wrap my thoughts around, because although Big Mom putting her sole Pocus as her final trump card as a last-ditch effort to try and defeat Kid and Law only for it to be ineffective, that shit was pretty epic. With that said, one of the more interesting but weird things about this episode is we do get more context on how Zoro fell off Onigashima, and apparently it was Death who was responsible for that, which I don't know about you guys, but that felt like one of those weird things that no one demanded an answer to. Like, I suppose it's trying to show Death's like sparing Zoro and that it's not his time to die just yet, but if they were gonna do something extra with the Zoro and Death scene, I feel there were several other routes Toei could have gone with that, but it is what it is, I guess. Like, I don't know, it's just a weird thing to expand upon with the Zoro thing. More importantly, though, we get a big reveal at the end of the episode that, Zunisha is a long-awaited ally of Joy Boy, and there's really only one reason as to why it's now that he's decided to make his move, which is Joy Boy himself is about to make his return, which, for context, if we are going by one chapter adapted per episode, then we've only got, 3 episodes left. Everyone, 3 episodes until Joy Boy returns, and it's going to be an agonizing 3 weeks from this point on, especially since, or I guess 4 weeks now I think about it, but especially since with Big Mom dead, since Big Mom defeated, the next episode seems to be mainly focused on everyone else and what's going on with them, there's only a couple, but I guess in retrospect there's only a couple things outside of Kaido to wrap up here. Of course, one of those other things to wrap up as well is we see Orochi kind of wising up a bit to actually what's going on around him, as we see him panic to the tremors around Onigashima. And honestly, I forget if it's next episode or the one after next week, but I believe Orochi's time in the story is very much reaching its end very soon, like practically within the next couple of episodes, either like next episode or the episode after that, which, I'm not gonna lie, this is one thing I knew the anime couldn't fix, but it's still a problem, which is, for me, Orochi definitely outstayed his welcome, but I kind of get why Oda did it in this way as well, because he wanted his death to be met by the hands of someone else. And honestly, that's the part of this that has gotten better the more I think about it, but the path in getting to that resolution is still the bigger issue. Like, just how much longer we had to deal with Orochi before he finally met his end. It's like, you could have ended it so much sooner, honestly, in my mind. And I do admit this is one area where the anime's pacing doesn't help. Like, it feels like we've been dealing with Orochi for a little bit longer than the anime, now that I think about it. And yeah, as a whole, there's not a lot more to say, but I guess one thing is, despite how epic the spectacle of the episode was, the actual animation of the episode wasn't as good as last week, but I kind of chalked it up to the idea that all it's doing is wrapping up the fight. There's not like really any major details to really touch upon anymore. Although I will admit, again, going back to the Big Mom stuff and just her kind of like, and just hearing her final thoughts as she's falling to her doom, it is kind of interesting to kind of hear what it is she's thinking about in her final moments. Like the whole thing with Roger and saying, yeah, like saying a different perspective of saying that Roger's whole attempt to start like some kind of great pirate era, all he really did was basically start a whole bunch of fucking crumbs for to Yonko. Like to Big Mom, the Yonko, but especially her, she saw herself as the next king, as the next ruler of the seas, the one who would find the One Piece and become, I guess technically you could say, the queen of the true queen of the pirates. She saw herself as Roger's successor through and through, but ultimately it was also because of Roger's declaration that basically caused just a whole bunch of problems for her. And threw an entire wrench into her plan, which yeah, I wouldn't put it past Roger, honestly, if part of this was kind of just wanting to cause a whole bunch of problems for the Yonko. It was obviously the whole thing of starting the Great Pirate Era is in its own way a test to see who is the strongest pirate, who can become the next ruler of all pirates, and the next king of the pirates kind of thing. And yeah, I guess when you look at it, it did cause a whole bunch of problems for her. Like, it ended up causing more problems for the Yonko than anything else, so yeah. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe from my Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share it around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, everyone.